These are the 8 biggest mistakes that people make when moving to the first state, Delaware. And if you want to know what's going on, what are things selling for, and what's going to happen next year in Delaware, we made a guide specifically for you. We call it the Loft Report, and you can download it here. Now, the biggest mistake people make in Delaware, I am going to save to the end because it makes me angry, and I don't want to be angry throughout the whole video. So let's start with number 1. We don't have any airports. That's right, we don't have any airports that are federally accessible. Like, we're not getting to California, we're not getting all the way up to Maine, down everywhere. We're not doing that. We have one airport that kind of hits the radar up in Newcastle, and that can get you down to Georgia, Florida, some areas of Tennessee, and they fly out on specific days. So overarchingly, we don't have an airport. You got to go to Philly, you got to go to Baltimore, you got to go to DC, and a person looking to live in Delaware that needs local airports is going to hate that. Number 2, people drink the Delaware haterade because they hear other people hate, and let me tell you right now, there is a strong secret that has been revealed over the last 5-10 years, and it's that Delaware is a really cool place to live, both for your social and things to do life and for the economic side of the life. And if you're like, Zach, there's nothing to do in Delaware, what are you talking about? I found a list of 125 things to do, and I have a guide here to prove it. It's one of the articles. It's like right in the middle. There are plenty of things to do in Delaware. Delaware is not boring in any way, shape, or form, and if you're thinking that on the outside looking in, I'd only encourage you to check it out before making your claim. Number 3 is the traffic. Now, here's the first mistake. The first mistake is people hear traffic and they think gridlock New York City, Los Angeles, El Trafico. They're thinking about times where hours are being lost due to things like DC traffic. That's not Delaware. What Delaware is congested rush hours in certain areas, especially up north, Route 1, Route 95, getting in and out of work can get more congested. And down south, the beach traffic, specifically on Route 1 and even some of 113, in those months where it's warm, holiday weekend coming up, and people are making their way down to the beaches and then back up that following Sunday. So the biggest mistake people make is thinking the traffic's really bad. The other mistake people make is they live directly within the beaches of Delaware, and they don't anticipate the fact that during the summer, there is going to be traffic at those beaches during the summer in Delaware. Number 4, we are not a winter wonderland, and we're also not a savanna when it comes to snow. Had a client move in from Albany, New York City, came in to move in Frederica, Delaware. The States love that. And when they moved in, it wasn't more than 3 months later that we moved into the winter, or specifically a winter storm. We got a 6 to 8 inch storm for that area that year, and I remember getting a call from him like, Zach, what's going on? Snow? I didn't know Delaware had snow. First of all, Albany, New York is known for snow. Delaware is not known for snow. We are known for, and if you're more curious about our weather, we do have a video about it. We are known for 1 to 2 storms, accumulating 12 to 16 inches in total throughout our entire winter. So though that storm was early that year and maybe freaked my client out a little bit that he moved from one snow-infested area to another, there's also the opposite side of the coin. The person who expects some snowstorms and sometimes can be disappointed that they don't get a lot of fort building opportunity or snowman building competitions to be had, because really, we're not going to get a ton of storms. It's not constantly going to be blanketed in snow, and that's not something you should expect out of Delaware. It's a mistake if you are. So I know I said number 9 is being saved to the end, but number 7 is also kind of strategic because it makes me sad. It's a mistake I made when I moved into Delaware. Number 5, not everything is piped here in Delaware. In fact, central sewer isn't attached to every property. Septic tanks and wells are completely a normal thing in the state of Delaware. If you're coming from a metropolitan area, suburban space, you may not be familiar with a septic tank, but let me tell you right now, it's one less bill that you're gonna have, and septic tanks are built to last. If you get a newer one, it's honestly something that remains no concern for you, but if that is a concern for you, because you've heard the nightmares in the past, I just wanna put it out there now. I have quite a few of them, and if you want to avoid them, it's good to know ahead of time because it takes out a lot of your opportunity. Because some of the best homes even being built in some new construction neighborhoods. Number 6, if you want to catch a bus, if you want to get an electric bike, if you're trying to hail a taxi or actively get an Uber at any time, you're going to have a little bit of difficulty in Delaware because we don't have the best public transport. Kind of doubles down on the airport side earlier. We don't have a lot of transport outside of being in your own vehicle. A lighter bus system and the availability for Ubers and Lyfts in more populous areas like maybe in the evenings in northern Delaware and down toward the beaches. But honestly, if you're in the middle of Dover at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday, hailing an Uber might take 15-20 minutes because there's just not as many out. This could change over the coming years, but public public transportation is on the docket for a lot of legislation in local cities and even counties, but as of right now, it's pretty barren, and it's a mistake if you're coming to Delaware expecting a lot of it. No trolley going out and through Dover. That'd be pretty cool though. Number 7 makes me sad. It's still not fixed, and there's really no plan for it to be fixed, and it was a mistake when I moved in. See, when I moved into Delaware, it was 1999. I was 6 years old. Let me tell you, 3.5 years earlier in my life, I said my first ever word. My first word was ball. I had a basketball in my hand, I had a soccer ball at my feet, I had a football getting thrown. I was sport. And then when we moved to grand old Delaware, I realized, and it only took a few years from there to realize, but we don't have any professional sports. We got a minor league baseball team and a NASCAR track that used to have 2 races and now has 1. I'm not even a big NASCAR fan, and that's sad. We lack sport. If you're a football fan, basketball fan, you'll notice a lot of the DC, Baltimore sporting teams, Philadelphia, New Jersey sport teams typically take favor, especially Phillies, Eagles, probably the predominant sporting fan, and that's a big mistake too if you don't like those fan bases, because number 8, and then I have my notes for number 9 because I want to get specific with you. But this is a specific mistake because number 8 is probably the more specific mistake that has nothing to do with Delaware that impedes people from being able to move to Delaware the way they want. See, when someone is moving into any state, especially Delaware, one thing has to be taken into consideration. You're more than likely selling another property. Don't sell it first without talking to somebody here, because whether it's new construction, whether it's building your own property on a private piece of land, whether it's resale or even a rental, you want to know the next step game plan. And that's why I want to be able to offer that to you. I can be your agent. One of our top-notch agents on our small condensed super team here in Delaware. We're the #1 ranked on Google. Text this number if you're thinking at all about moving to Delaware. We can help set up that guideline, help set up that game plan, help get you the next step lined up so that when you do inevitably sell, give your notice, whatever it is to get out of your current home to relocate in Delaware, you don't make the biggest mistake of them all, being homeless because you didn't get the next step set up properly. Hit up someone you trust. If that's us today, you can give me a text or call. I like calls too. Number 9, though, the bonus hate is I can't stand. All right, I'm gonna unbutton a little bit. When I hear people talk about Delaware and the crime, Delaware's crime rate has lowered, let me tell you, over the last 10 years so significantly that we went from one of our cities, and you can look it up, being named Murder Town, USA, it's over Chicago per capita, to now one of the more moderately safe states in the entire country. In fact, it is now below average in overall violent crime rate. And if you factor in almost all of that, 80% plus of that violent crime rate is domestic, we are one of the safest areas to be on the eastern seaboard. Look it up. Look up any crime rate graph by neighborhood, by county, by state, by city. It's all going down, and it wasn't even that bad to begin with. And let me tell you right now, you may be in a position where this doesn't matter to you, but can I tell you, people have moved to different states. People have gone different ways because they saw one headline, heard one report, saw something from 2015 that said something that sent them a different direction. Let me tell you, if that's you, that's a mistake. It's a big mistake. And if you don't come to Delaware, like I said the first time, to check it out for yourself, you may have a false notion of what is offered, what it can be. And I encourage you, take a drip through, give us a call if you'd like. Here's the number again on screen, or watch one of these other videos to learn more about relocating into Delaware, best places to live in Delaware, or just feel free to subscribe. We post every single Wednesday and Friday for you, relocating into Delaware. So if that's you, hit the subscribe button or check out one of these videos. Otherwise, I hope you have a dandy Delaware day, and we'll talk again soon.